Hey, what's going on? Welcome to No Filter, a Nintendo podcast. I'm your host, Wizrad, and this is episode 4, recording on December 18th, 2017. How are you guys? How are you? Happy holidays, everybody. 1 week away from the big day. Let's get some good gaming time in on these winter months here. And let's get started with this podcast. I'm going to have one more podcast going up before the 25th. I'll probably post that on the 24th. That one will have predictions and stuff looking forward to 2018, whereas this podcast right here, right now, is about my game of the year, my top 10 list, as well as a little a parody of not a parody, but using the same kind of a list that Nintendo Minute actually used for their game of the year. I thought that was actually really interesting how they had it set as categories. So I'm going to be doing that as well. So hope you guys enjoy, and let's just get started right away into the news. So the first topic. The Switch has sold over 10 million units in less than 10 months. And yes, that is actually sold, not shipped. That's confirmed by Nintendo. So sold 10 million units in 10 months. That is pretty damn good, especially coming off of the Wii U, which, as everyone knows, I think it's still at just under 14 million units for, 5 years? This is really good for the Switch. I'm really happy that they're doing well again, because the Wii U was some dark days there, like it had games there, it had the exclusive games that you wanted to play, but the sales really brought it down, and it just died off, with like a slow fart at the end. It was not good. So I'm happy to see that the Switch has sold this much already. That bodes well for support going forward. And again, congratulations Nintendo, Kimishima, the late Iwata for this console here, the system that you've really developed into something that has caught everybody's attention. So that's commendable. And hopefully we'll see how 2018 goes. But Switch seems to be doing pretty damn well right now. So that's good to hear. Second bit of news, this is actually a rumor that Catherine, I don't know if you guys recall, but it's the Atlas game that was out on PS3 and I believe on 360 as well. It might have been just a PS3 exclusive though, I'm not sure. But so Catherine, which is like a anime like puzzle sort of game, that might be getting a re-release. I don't know if it would come out on Switch. I think that would be a perfect system to put it on, especially when it would probably have a bunch of fans and people that haven't played the original that would want to buy it again. This is the one game on PS3 that I did not end up playing that I really wanted to, except I just didn't want to buy it digitally, so I was trying to find it for a good price physically, and I just could not find it. And I actually just recently sold off my PS3, and I'm selling my PS3 games right now on Kijiji. You still get pretty good prices for this stuff, so I'm pretty happy with it. But so again, I'm looking forward to hopefully getting a try at Catherine. I've been wanting to play that for years, and if that comes on Switch, that'd be great. If it's not, I'll have PS4 by the end of this year, and I'll be getting it on that. Next bit of news, the eShop holiday sale. So the eShop has quite a few indie games and a few other somewhat larger games on sale right now for the holidays. I believe it's running through to the end of the year, and I really need to do a rant sometime. I'll do a no filter rant maybe in the new year regarding Switch game prices, because it's just really kind of pissing me off. It's not, in this case, this is just about Nintendo systems. Even for indie games that are on all other systems, those games will get a 75% off discount on, obviously, Steam. Steam's a little bit different, but even on PS4 it'll get like a 60% off discount, whereas Nintendo, they'll put it like 20% max just to put it on the page. You know what I mean? And it's a little frustrating seeing that kind of stuff. So, but either way, there is some good sales here. There are some good games. SteamWorld Dig 2 is a big one. If you guys haven't bought that yet, go fucking buy it. Seriously, it's amazing. Another one is actually SteamWorld Heist that's on Wii U. That's on sale there. And I believe it's on the 3DS for sale as well. That is a fantastic strategy game. Anyway, take a look at the sale. There are some good deals there, but you'll notice that a lot of them are like, 20% off. And like I have a backlog of a lot of games I just put on my wish list on the eShop that I wanted to buy at a later time for a sale, but I'm expecting a sale of at least like 50% off. If it's 50% off, I'll actually take a look. If it's not, 30% off, it depends on how big the game is and how much I really wanted it, so I'm not going to be pulling the trigger when it's only 20% off for some of these games. So last bit of news I want to talk about. Again, in this podcast, I'm going to be going over more than just Nintendo. So obviously, this one is about Star Wars: The Last Jedi. Don't worry, I'm not going to spoil anybody for this. I'm sure most of you have probably already seen it, but I really enjoyed it. I thought it was a fantastic theater-going experience. Well worth the money. Explosions, heartbreak. Very interesting, and it was over 2.5 hours long, I believe. So, it was well worth the money. I really enjoyed it. I've never been the biggest, into the lore of Star Wars, so certain things probably wouldn't annoy me like they would other people. But at the same time, I feel like a lot of things that would annoy the diehard Star Wars fanboys out there, it wouldn't annoy me. So it probably evens it out. I don't know. But overall, again, I thought it was really good. The structure was a little bit odd to me. I still feel like I need some time to digest that, but just the whole setup for the entire story throughout this one here was a little odd. And to be fair, the entire movie was very different, which I really want to commend. And you're going to see a lot of hypocrites kind of coming out now. And I think it's always with it's just kind of the mainstream culture now. It's like everyone wants to be a hipster with everything now. So it's like, like Breath of the Wild being Game of the Year. Now everyone's like, it's not that good, not that good. Same thing's going to happen with Star Wars here, where it's like, hey, the biggest movie ever. There's going to be tons of people coming out just to say, it was shit. It was shit. It's like, fuck off, people. Stop being, so hipster. But, I love how different it was, because I really liked Force Awakens for how much it called back to the original trilogy. That was really, really good. I did like Force Awakens quite a bit. I've rewatched it a few times, and, it's not obviously as good as what I initially thought. But, with this one, it was completely different. It was not like any other Star Wars movie that I've seen. Just the tone, how everything kind of flowed. Yeah, it was a lot different than what I was expecting, so I really appreciated that. And this new director, he has some balls. He's he can really kind of change it up. So I'm interested in seeing what he does with the new trilogy going forward. So that's really interesting, and I really enjoyed kind of that it was different. But again, there are some annoyances there. I'll probably give it a little bit more time before I kind of go over the details, but I guess the last thing I want to say about Star Wars is there is one scene in this movie which is probably one of the coolest scenes I've ever seen in any movie whatsoever. If it may be in the comments, if when you guys want to leave it there, I don't know, maybe try to just avoid any spoilers actually, so maybe don't do that. But yeah, there's one scene that was just fucking beautiful. It was so good. Anyway, that's the end of the news there. So what have I been playing recently? What I've been playing recently is obviously Xenoblade Chronicles 2. I am about 90 hours in. I'm on Chapter 8, around the end of Chapter 8. I don't know how much more I have, but I feel like there could be quite a bit still. And man, I fucking love this game. Oh, I'm really enjoying this game, and I'm trying to take as much time as I can. I'm going through however it is, and I'm like balancing where my level is based on what the enemies I'm facing, so I don't get too overpowered, but I don't want to be too underpowered, so I'm taking time to do side quests throughout. And yeah, I'm not going to talk too much about it, but yeah, guys, I'm really, really, really liking this game. And the one that I really wanted to talk about for what I've been playing recently is Rocket League. So I've played Rocket League so many times over since it, when it was out on PS4 and all that stuff. I've played it quite a bit. But yeah, this is the first time I'm owning it myself, Rocket League on Switch, and I love having this handheld. They actually just came out with a patch, and handheld version looks so much fucking better. It'd be great if they did this with Xenoblade Chronicles 2 as well, although obviously the scales are completely, totally different here. But yeah, the Rocket League in handheld now, it looks great, and it runs great, and I think it's the best way to play. Having it handheld, being able to like play in bed or something before you go to bed and stuff like that, it works so well for that, and I really enjoy it. And I'm definitely getting a lot better at it. I'm doing all the air jumps and hits, and I'm almost always on the top of my team. If not, I'll just be second. Yeah, I'm really, really enjoying Rocket League. It's a lot of fun. I do have some, legitimate criticisms here. I wish it was more of a Nintendo type title where they actually put in some, character, some, interest. Like it just seems such a dead, kind of boring game when you're just kind of looking around from it. Like what you actually play, like the actual gameplay elements are really good, and that's good. But again, gameplay isn't like everything. It is the most important thing. That's why I love it. But everything surrounding it, like the presentation, how it's like very, it's so, I guess they're just trying to really replicate like the FIFA feel. But I mean, like if they gave some character to it and had like, different voices or different crazy looks to it. Like look at how Nintendo did ARMS, for example. This competitive fighting game with so much character built into it. I know it'd be different when it's cars hitting soccer balls, but like maybe just having the announcer with some character to him or something, or I don't know what it is. It just, something feels off about it, but that's really the only complaint I can have for it. I absolutely love Rocket League. Having that on handheld is a blessing. Love it. Now for the first segment, hot matches. So this one I'm going to be going over all of the Nintendo Minutes Game of the Year list. They made that little chart with basically they choose a winner and a runner-up for certain categories that they have. It should be on the screen for you guys here. If not, I'll just be reading them off as I go down. But it has stuff like most fashionable character, the game you wish you played, best soundtrack, best narrative, stuff like that. So it has a lot of different things, like coolest amiibo. So I felt like this was a cool way to go about this before I get to my actual top 10 games of the year. So first thing I want to mention here is obviously I didn't play every single Nintendo game that came out. And yes, this list is going to be all about Nintendo Switch pretty much. And that just a few for 3DS, but I didn't play too much new 3DS games this year. A lot of it was backlog and mainly just Metroid Samus Returns in the late in game. Yeah, so like just kind of going over this, I think like they do really good work. I like Nintendo Minute with Kid and Krista. Like Nintendo's always done these, like these Nintendo shows. Like I remember they had Nintendo Show 3D with like Jessie Cantrell or whatever her name was, and what was it, Nintendo Week with Dart Gary and Allison, I think. Like those were always fun, and I always enjoyed those back in the day with like the Wii and 3DS and all that stuff. But yeah, I think Nintendo Minute's here to stay. These two have some interesting dynamics. I don't think it's sexual tension. It's just like a weird like they're only doing this for work, and outside of work, no way in hell are they ever going to hang out kind of a thing. I don't know. But yeah, it's an interesting dynamic, and it was a good video. So you guys should go watch their video, see what their picks are. A little disappointed on some of their picks, but it's also Nintendo, employees, so obviously they have to kind of boost up some of the Nintendo games and not some of the third-party ones that were on it. But anyway, let's just get started here. So the first category for me, coolest amiibo. So I bought most of the, at least I think almost every one from the original Zelda run of amiibo for Breath of the Wild. So I have like the Guardian, the Link on Epona, separate Link Archer. I recently got Zelda just to finish off that kind of main collection there. I don't know if I'm missing one, but yeah, so I got those, and my number one coolest amiibo is the Guardian. I love the Guardian. The whole opposable, movable legs is really cool, and I think it just looks like a really cool amiibo, and it's so big too. It's really cool. And number two, one that I wish I could have got, but I couldn't, was the squishy Metroid. I would have loved to have that Metroid. It seems so freaking cool. If I still can find it anywhere, I will pick that up as soon as I see it. But I'm not all about that, going online and all that kind of stuff for it. So just gonna kind of leave that as it is for now. But that is my number two coolest amiibo. Next category is best multiplayer game. So my runner-up is, originally I wasn't gonna put this. It would have been Doom, but Doom was knocked out for Rocket League. So yeah, Rocket League, obviously just a blast to play, whether with friends or just online. A lot of it I'm just playing online ranked, just with randoms, and I'm loving it. It's such a good game for that. And but my number one is, of course, it has to be Splatoon 2. This game, just Splatoon in general, the whole innovative formula they've created here makes the game just automatically one of the best shooters out there, because it does everything so unique and everything flows so well. Like you're shooting, you want to shoot as much as you can. That makes it funner. You're not kind of waiting around for stuff, because when you're shooting, it also helps everybody by covering the ground. And I don't know, it's just how it kind of flows together. The whole Splatoon formula works so well, and Splatoon 2 really made the multiplayer a lot better. They improved on the maps, mainly like the sizes and how you move around, and they really did a good job with it. Single player wasn't as good, but again, we're talking about multiplayer here. And yeah, Splatoon 2, top notch. And I'm going to be playing this the entire time I have a Switch. I love that they gave this whole 2-year content rollout kind of thing with Splatoon 2. Like the game from the first day it was out, which was already pretty damn good, is like has like 10 new maps already. It's killing it. It's doing so well. And I can't wait for this new mode that's going to come out. Anyway, next category is Best eShop Game. So my runner-up for that is Stardew Valley. So I've been a huge Harvest Moon series fan for a long time now. And they've been stagnant, Like I've always wished they could just take that step and just I don't know if it's just a little bit more money into it or whatever it is, but it just, the developers just did not change much from Harvest Moon to Harvest Moon. But Stardew Valley was interesting. It lost, I think, a lot of the charm that you got in the Harvest Moon games, and that's something I do miss, that Harvest Moon definitely did better than Stardew Valley. Just the charm in general. But Stardew Valley just improved on a ton of things. It was super addictive. I remember for like a whole month, basically, that's like all I did was Stardew Valley. Yeah, maybe a couple weeks. Like all I did was Stardew Valley. I went through 2 years. I just put it down after that. I felt like I got my fill. I wasn't in for just looting for money and just building up and designing my farm. I was more about going through the community center, doing all that. It was a lot of fun. I'll kind of leave it at that with Stardew Valley, but it's definitely the best Harvest Moon style game I played in probably since the GameCube game, Harvest Moon: A Wonderful Life. The best eShop game, though, is SteamWorld Dig 2. For sure, no doubt, and you guys can bet that is going to be on one of my top 10 Game of the Year lists. So, yeah, SteamWorld Dig 2 was phenomenal. Metroidvania game, like, almost perfected. These guys, Image and Form, know what the hell they're doing, and, they did Heist, they did SteamWorld Tower Defense on DSi, and SteamWorld Dig, the original, that was pretty much ported to every platform out there. Yeah, this game is really, really damn good, and I can't wait to see what else they do with the SteamWorld formula. Or the SteamWorld name, I guess. Next is Best Box Art. So this might be a little bit cheap for what you guys think, but I'll start with the runner-up, is Doom. The Doom box art on Switch looks fucking awesome. If you guys haven't seen it, actually, you know what? I might just put that in the background of the video here. But yeah, Doom box art. Holy crap, people. Brings you back, doesn't it? Anyway, the winner for best box art, though, for me, is undoubtedly Xenoblade Chronicles 2. I mean, this is probably a little bit unfair because I got the special edition, which only comes with the steel case. But oh my god, the steel case looks so fucking badass. I'm telling you guys. It is so awesome. It's pretty much cemented my whole idea that I'm going to be collecting. I've never really, I collect all the games I like, and that's kind of how my collecting goes, as my extent of collecting. And, Amiibo that I like in my characters, but I'm never just like going up for everything. Whereas I feel like with Switch, I'm going to be collecting every steel case box that they have released for it. So the Bayonetta, I believe, I don't know if it's coming to North America, but Bayonetta 1 and 2 is supposed to be getting a steel case. I'm going to have to order that shit, Yeah, I'm all in. Like the steel cases for like the size of the case and everything like that looks so good. But yeah, even the artwork though, so good. Next, is a favorite Mario Odyssey capture. So the first one I have is Tropical Wiggler. So if you guys remember in the Tropical Island thing in Mario Odyssey, you have like the Wiggler that you extend and then you kind of like retract your body to move and stuff like that. And I thought that was always a lot of fun. I really enjoyed going there and just picking one up and experimenting with it. And number 1 is Gushin. I had to look up the name, but this is the blue, was it like a jellyfish or something like that that's in the Seaside Kingdom, where it's basically like a, like it's like a flying boat or something like that, right? It's like shooting out water. You can ascend or you can just fly on top of the water. And I always really liked having the Gushins in Seaside Kingdom. Plus, it was really useful for how big. How much of the level was underwater, so then having to swim across would be kind of annoying. So either you get one of the fire flowers or you get the Gushin, and I always liked the Gushin, so that was good. Next category is most fashionable character. So first one, or for the runner-up, I put down Mario because honestly he has some pretty badass costumes throughout the entire game. It was close. I was going to put Link, but I guess he had a lot of different things. Oh man, that's actually really tough now when I think about it, because he had a lot of different costumes, but his main one, which was like the blue tunic, I love that one. That was really good. But you know what, Mario still, I'll keep him as runner-up. And most fashionable character, I'm going to put Pyra because she's bae, I'll just keep it as that. Maybe that's a little bit of a trolling thing, I don't know. But Pyra, that would be number 1 most fashionable character. Next category is Vista, King, and Queen. King or Queen. So Vista, I imagine this is just, again, talking about like the views and stuff that you have in the game. So the runner-up is Zelda Breath of the Wild. This category could have went either way. Zelda is, the views in Zelda are just phenomenal. And the fact that you literally climb up the cliffs to get to the places, it really kind of... it adds that sense of achievement while you're also viewing like this amazing landscape that like spans everywhere. You can reach like everything that you can see, kind of a thing. It really takes a lot from Xenoblade, which is my number 1, Xenoblade Chronicles 2. Monolith Soft are just experts of, setting up the views and world building in general. And some of the views in here, like I think I've taken over like 2,000 screenshots already of the game, and I just can't wait to go back through as soon as I complete it. And I'm just going to go through, delete the ones that are just repeats and just save the other ones, and I'll probably end up posting them all on my Twitter, which, as you guys know, is at Wizrad, if you want to follow me there. Next category is my favorite sidekick. So my runner-up is Rabbid Peach. Rabbid Peach from Mario and Rabbids Kingdom Battle was a lot of fun. Really liked Rabbid Peach. Really funny, and honestly one of the best characters to have with her heal abilities and stuff like that. It was really helpful and really funny too. So that's my runner-up. Whereas my favorite sidekick is Pyra. She's such a sweetheart. Again, I'm not going to give any spoilers or anything like that, but she's waifu material, and she is she's kind of super badass. But I'll leave it to that. Next category is the best game I wish I played. So there's a whole bunch that I wish I played or had the time to play or just wish I bought, or that I'm waiting for either Boxing Day or to see if maybe I get one of these for Christmas or something from family. I actually put 3 down. The 2 runner-ups are Golf Story and Fire Emblem Warriors. So Golf Story I meant to get. I wish I played, but principles within me, the developers upcharged Canadian prices by a solid I think it was $2.50 more than the actual conversion rate from US. I messaged them on Twitter and stuff, and they said nothing. Or I think maybe one of the employees responded about it, but then said it's not up to them. But I'm like, well, what the fuck's wrong with these people? I'm not buying your stupid game, then fuck you guys. So, but again, I really do want to play it. So I'm hoping either it just gets a big sale, big drop, or I don't know what it is. But so that's one. And the other one, Fire Emblem Warriors. I've never played a Warriors game. For some reason, I skipped out on Hyrule Warriors. And after the Switch was announced, I didn't feel like I wanted to buy another game for the Wii U like that. But Fire Emblem Warriors is one for sure. But my actual winner is Skyrim. For some reason, even through all the Steam sales that the game would be like for $5, and stuff like that, I've just always held off on getting Skyrim. I don't know why. It just, something about it just made me hold off. But now the fact that I can play it handheld, sold me completely, and the reviews are really good for it as well. So yeah, that's definitely number one I want to play. And if I don't get it for Christmas, I'll be buying that one right away. So probably before the end of the year, I'll have it. I don't know if I'll get to play it right away yet. Still have Xenoblade to play through and the Zelda DLC, but we'll see. I have my fill of these huge, large adventures, and maybe I need a break in between. Okay, so the next category is my in-game moment. My favorite in-game moment. So the runner-up is the New Donk City Festival in Super Mario Odyssey. So, I've never, again, I don't know if you guys recall, but I've never been the biggest Mario fan ever. I've never had like the crazy attachment that other people have. My interest in Mario games really started around Sunshine, but even that was like really the first one I really got into and really cared about. Galaxy has like a special place in my heart, kind of a thing, but Odyssey really had something special. And even for me, as someone who doesn't have any kind of care for what Pauline is or does, the whole New Donk City with the music and the nighttime and like the whole event of it all, and the music, mixing in the jump up superstar in the background was something special. And for some reason it made you feel like you wanted to get emotional. Like I didn't get crazy, but I know a lot of people, for example, probably like teared up around that. And there's something special about that, and just the placement throughout the game where they decided to do that, it was something special. And it's something I'll never forget. Number one, though, is the entire opening to Breath of the Wild, meaning like the entire Great Plateau, the first, like 10 hours after leaving the Great Plateau, just the entire feel and the openness to Zelda Breath of the Wild, it completely just mind-fucked me. I mean, like, learning all these new things, how everything's so physics-based, going through feeling like you're actually truly trying to survive. You're collecting twigs, you're collecting branches to try to fight and survive and kill these people. You have to be smart about it. Maybe you get one on fire, light him on fire, and he runs into a explosive barrel, and then he blows up, and and then you're down to hearts, so you have to cook something to make sure you're better. Like the entire thing was so good. Meeting your first guardian, and like you just hear like the beeping, you're like, what the fuck? And then you see like a laser pointing at you, and then you're just running away. And I don't know, man, like just the entire opening to Breath of the Wild was so magical to me. This has to be my favorite in-game moment, and probably one of my favorite in-game moments of all time. It was so damn good. Best soundtrack. So I could put so many. There's been so many good soundtracks this year, but okay, yeah. Right here I put down 5, but I'm just going to say the 2. So my runner-up is Odyssey. The Odyssey soundtrack is so good. It has like every level has some really fantastic music. I don't know if it is better than Galaxy. I don't think it quite reaches that level, but I don't think many games will or ever will. Like Cascade Kingdom, for example, has one of the best songs I've heard in recent memory. And obviously Jump Up Superstar. I know it's been overplayed so many times, but it's still a damn good song, and I love it. The best soundtrack, though, is for sure Xenoblade Chronicles 2. These guys have really outdone themselves. I feel like this is a better soundtrack than the first Xenoblade Chronicles. In my opinion, it's better than X, but X is also a very different type of soundtrack that I do also enjoy as well. But yeah, man, some of the battle scenes in Xenoblade Chronicles 2, it's so good. Some of the touching scenes, it's masterfully made, and I really hope that Monolith Soft continues with the composers here, because man, this music is phenomenal. Zelda is obviously runner-up. A lot of people like to harp on Breath of the Wild for it because it doesn't have as much, I guess, music, but when you actually think about it, when you actually think of what the music there's music for like every town you visit, every different area you visit. Just the fact that the world's so big, are you really going to want to have some bombastic, crazy catchy, yes, tune, but you're not going to want it to be catchy when you're listening to it for 80 hours of your fucking 150-hour playthrough. You want the sounds of nature, which is part of the entire goddamn game, you know? It works so well. Some of my favorite themes are in it. Molduga, Battle Phase. Guys, listen to some of this shit, you know? Kakariko Village, you know, it has some fantastic music in it. It's just a different type of music, and it's more thoughtful. But either way, that did get third, I guess. A runner-up. My favorite real-life moment. So, the runner-up for this is my whole hype leading up to the Switch's launch. So, this was interesting to me because the Switch, leading up to the launch, I caught wind of this guy CND. I'm sure a lot of you guys have probably heard of him, Captain Nintendo dude. And he did this whole waiting in line for the Switch for a month with Triforce, which is one of the original kind of waiting in line guys. He has all like a Guinness World Record for it and stuff. So it got me really pumped for it, the pump for the Switch launch, watching every day, seeing this lineup and all this community of Nintendo fans kind of build up around him, and build up around the hype for the Switch. It was really magical to finally see him, get the Switch and, take photos, not with Reggie, but Doug Bowser, which is pretty cool and stuff like that. And that really got me hyped for the launch. And then when it came out and the whole Zelda thing, it was really awesome. Sadly, again, I didn't get Switch day one. I ended up waiting until I could find it easily in store. And that was maybe 3 months later. I found one, the very last one, at a Walmart. But that's my runner-up for favorite real-life moment. Just the entire launch kind of leading up to it, and Zelda Breath of the Wild being there. I played it on Wii U, but, I felt like I was kind of a part of that whole thing, and it was really, really cool to see. And a shout out to Captain Nintendo dude. That was a lot of what he did. I feel like he's kind of going down the drain right now with his content. But what he did there was really good for Nintendo and really good for the community. So, CND, I commend you. Good job. Thank you. But my favorite real life moment was the January presentation. That was what really set me off with hype for the Switch. And that whole 2 months leading up to March was just insane for me. Looking back at all the announcements they had showing, Super Mario Odyssey, that first trailer. I remember going over every reaction video I could see on the internet for these games. That final Zelda trailer, where Zelda falls in Link's arms crying. You see everyone's reaction going down, or when it first starts picking up, with Link and stuff like that, fighting enemies and stuff. It was it was something special, that January presentation, and the fact that Switch was coming out 2 months after that, like a couple months before that, we had no idea what it was. We still thought it was the NX basically, and bam, fucking just in 2 months you're gonna get the Switch in your hands. I'm like, holy shit, this was an epic presentation, and I'm still excited for so many games that they've announced there. No More Heroes, Shin Megami Tensei. I can't wait to see what happens with the rest of the Switch. But yeah, that January presentation really kicked off this year with an absolute bang. Nintendo fucking killed it. And the last category is Best Narrative. So, second is Zelda. Again, narrative isn't just what the story is. Narrative is also the lore, the whole world surrounding it. And if you do read a lot of the journals, which I read through every single one, and you got the lore of it, how people are living in Hyrule after the Calamity Ganon and everything like that, it was really kind of a touching tale and really beautiful. The captured memory parts I actually really enjoyed. I thought this is one of the better kind of ways of telling a story in Zelda. I think Skyward Sword is still the best, but I thought this was actually really good for what it was. The best narrative, it has to be Xenoblade Chronicles 2. Again, I'm not going to spoil anything, but this story is fucking awesome. I am loving the story, loving the characters. It is, I can't wait to see what the hell goes on with it. Again, I'm not going to spoil anything. I really don't want to spoil anything about this, but man, this story is fucking awesome. The whole narrative, how it's told, love it. Alright, so the next segment is another segment of Hot Matches, and it is going to be of my Game of the Year list. So yes, my top 10 games of the year. So just kind of disclaimer before I start here. This is going to be all Nintendo games. To be honest, other than some PS3 games and some Vita games, I haven't played too much other games, even on Steam or anything. This year's pretty much all been dedicated to Switch and a few 3DS. But here are some honorable mentions I did want to bring up. Danganronpa V3 on Vita. I love the Danganronpa series, so this was one that I definitely didn't get to include. Slime-san on Switch, which is a fantastic indie platformer. Goner, which is another indie platformer shoot 'em up, really good, a roguelike game. Tumbleseed, which is a tough as nails roguelike game, but I highly recommend that game as well. Rocket League is another one, but it was out before and I've played before, so I just wasn't going to include that. And the last one is Picross 3D Round 2. I don't even think this is a 2017 game, but yeah, I played that to death. I love Picross games, Picross 3D mainly, and yeah, Round 2 was fantastic. Anyway, so let's get started with my top 10. So, number 10, Stardew Valley. Yes, so again, as you guys noticed in my last Hot Matches segment, Stardew Valley is probably the best Harvest Moon game I've played since A Wonderful Life on GameCube. It lost some of the charm I found, but the entire farming system and the combat and how everything is and how you collect and how you kind of build up the town and everything, I think far exceeded anything that Harvest Moon games have even tried recently. With how stagnant the Harvest Moon games are, it was a breath of fresh air to play Stardew Valley, so I really appreciated that. And yeah, it was a fantastic game. I played nonstop for weeks. Number 9 is ARMS. So when they first announced this game in the January presentation, it instantly got me hooked. I love that it had these crazy character designs. This extendable arms thing was so unique, never seen it before. And whenever Nintendo really focuses on a unique aspect to a game that you've never seen before, it usually turns out pretty damn well. And again, I completely agree with how they did that here with ARMS. I've never been the biggest fighting game fan. So initially I was thinking, hey, this might not be my cup of tea, but it seems good enough. And there were some complaints I would have with the game, mainly being that they could have really pushed more with the whole lore of the world and the characters, because the characters had so much style and were designed so beautifully. But then they just have these very half-assed like text conversations in the story mode kind of a thing, and really wasn't anything to it there. But as far as a party game, it's fantastic, and as well as a competitive online game, I absolutely loved it. I loved the whole aspect of the extendable arms. Again, defending, move, dodge, hit. It's so satisfying when you dodge at the last minute and you hit a special and you kind of get the guys again. It's the game is a blast. I've kind of fallen off on that, but I think it's more of the fault of Nintendo releasing so many damn games this year and so many good indies and some third-party stuff. I will be jumping back in it. I have that in my Switch case all the time just in case I want to go back in for a few matches. But yeah, that's my number 9. Number 8 is Doom. So this is my first time playing Doom. As soon as I saw that this was coming out, I was like, oh man, perfect. On a handheld too. This is like perfect for me. This is perfect like for the lifestyle and the whole arcade type of shooting. I was like, okay, this is perfect. I'm jumping in. And the campaign is fucking amazing. That's honestly one of the best first-person shooter campaigns I've played. It was a blast, it was so good. And so Doom was really good for that. The visuals were pretty interesting, but I think they worked actually really well. With like the manic kind of crazy Twitch shooter kind of reaction time thing, the 30 frames per second seemed to work fine to me. Like it seemed faster than 30 frames per second because there was like no hiccups like whatsoever, It moved briskly as much as you would want. And the kind of the motion blur they added to everything and like the soft around the edges really, it was kind of cool. It really made me think like you're looking through like this crazy guy's like, helmet and kind of a thing, you're really looking at these like crazy creatures kind of moving all around you, and you're moving quickly. I feel like it just worked really well, and I think what was a Panic Button, I think they did a fantastic job in porting the game, and I'm really excited to see Wolfenstein 2 next year. So that's my number 8. My number 7 is Metroid Samus Returns on 3DS. So yes, this is the only 3DS game I'm putting in here. There were quite a few good 3DS games out this year, actually. Quite a few that I would play, but I do find it hard kind of going back to 3DS now when the Switch is out. But Metroid Samus Returns. So I played Metroid 2 on the original, on my 3DS Virtual Console, and yeah, it was a little tough. I couldn't really get into it. I played for maybe a half hour, then I was like, nah, I can't play this. I looked up the story, then I was done. But Metroid Samus Returns, though, that's announced. Again, that was just announced this year, people. Like E3, and it was already out, and it was fantastic. This was a damn good game. Mercury Steam did a really good job. I feel like they got unfairly reviewed based on their Castlevania Lords of Shadow Mirror Fate game on 3DS. I really enjoyed that game, so I was already on board for this. And they did a fantastic job. The whole, again, I don't want to spoil it for anybody, but yeah, it was a really good Metroid game, and I don't want to be the asshole, but I played Super Metroid after playing Metroid Samus Returns for the first time. I played Super Metroid on 3DS Virtual Console. Maybe it's because I played it after, but I think Metroid Samus Returns might be the better game. Don't burn me at the stake for that, but that's take that for what you will. My number 6 is an even better game, in my opinion, than the Metroidvania Metroid Samus Returns. It is SteamWorld Dig 2 on the eShop. Absolutely love this game. Image and form, fantastic. The original SteamWorld Dig I really liked on 3DS. SteamWorld Heist I liked even better. It was more of a turn-based style kind of strategy game. But SteamWorld Dig 2 brought it back to its platformer, not roots, but it's back to the platformer genre that they used with SteamWorld Dig 1. And yeah, it was phenomenal. I'm not going to jump in too much, but it looks beautiful. It runs really well. And the whole upgrade system was flowing so well with how you're progressing through the story. And there's always something to look forward to within the next couple minutes. There's always something new, always some new gameplay element you haven't seen before. And it was really good. And the whole digging mechanic is as great as ever. Number 5 is Splatoon 2. So again, I talked about this in the last segment, Hot Matches, but Splatoon 2, really enjoyed this game. The story wasn't as good as the first one, but I feel like they improved on the multiplayer tenfold, I think. The maps are a lot better, in my opinion. They are bringing back some of my favorites from the original, and they keep flowing content. For 2 years, they're bringing out new content, and they're releasing this new mode soon. This is such a good community, and this game that you kind of can rally around every time they have a Splatfest come out. I'd pick up the Joy-Cons again or whatever, and I'd play Splatoon again. It's such a good... Think about the amount of money's worth I'm getting for just this one game, you know what I mean? It's really damn good. Number 4 is Mario and Rabbids Kingdom Battle. So, yeah, this is... Okay, I wish it was higher, because when I played this game, I was like, man, this is going to be either number 1 or 2 on my Game of the Year list. This is fantastic. How did this happen? No one expected this game to be nearly as good as it is. This is a fantastic strategy game. I mean, so good, people. The flow of how you run, then you jump on an enemy, then you jump on another, you slide dash through a couple guys, and you jump off an enemy's head, jump onto your friend's head or something, and then they throw you further down the map, and then you shoot a guy, he careens back and hits another guy, and they both fall into a pit and die. It's one move that you can plan out, and it is so damn satisfying when you do it. And you can do that constantly. There's constantly something you can do, move through. You go through a pipe and it extends your reach. You can like the maps aren't like these huge maps. Like that's what I never liked about XCOM is how big the maps were, and half the time you're like, you're taking like 3 moves just to move up to where an enemy is. Whereas this one, you're planted down into this map, and you can like, you're in battle automatically right away. You can even like travel in one move all the way to the other end of the map. So it's like this fully intricate puzzle that you're playing every map that you have. Like it's so well designed. I still can't get over that Ubisoft made this. And yeah, like seriously, one of the best strategy games I've ever played. Buy it now. And I can't believe it's only number 4 on this list. Seriously, this game is fucking phenomenal. And they just released a versus mode for free. Like this game, so good. Number 3 is, okay, this is a little controversial for me, but number 3 is Xenoblade Chronicles 2. This list will probably change at some point, but I have not completed Xenoblade Chronicles 2 yet. I don't even think I'm close to completing it. I will be playing forever after this, but I just couldn't put it above the other 2 that I have up there. So I left it at number 3. I am absolutely adoring this game. I don't know if I like it better than the first one yet. I don't know if I like it better than X yet. I want to leave that for after until I finally beat the game. But yeah, no, this game is phenomenal, and I'm just going to leave it at that. Again, I don't want to spoil anybody, but right now for number 3, I have to give it to that because I haven't completed it yet, but I did want to put it on the list because so many people are going to skip it because it's released so late in the year. My number 2 is Super Mario Odyssey. I was trying to do like a mix of Zelda Breath of the Wild there, but yeah, so Super Mario Odyssey is my number 2, which obviously means you guys know what my number 1 is. Again, I've never been the biggest Mario fan, but this is the one Mario where I've actually 100% completed it, as in I got all 999 moons. I did Darker Side of the Moon. I did everything. Again, I've never 100%ed any of the galaxies, 3D World, 3D Land, anything like that. I've never 100%ed any of these games, and this is the first one that made me do it, and it made me play constantly for like a week, and that's around, I think it was like exactly a week when I 100%ed the game, meaning I played it fucking constantly. I think my total time was around like 55 hours. And yeah, that was like, and that's not padded out kind of hours, like this game is so chock full of fucking content that, every second you're doing something. Either you're finding a new moon, or you're discovering something new, you're looking at a beautiful new view, it's constant. And there are some gripes I have with it that I have had with a lot of Mario games. I guess I will bring them up here, but yeah, like the one is, yes, actually the difficulty. Yes, there were some tough moons. There were some, but nothing too crazy. And for a game that has such a fantastic mechanic, which really made this game one of my favorites of the year, mainly because of the capping mechanics and how free and crazy your movements are, and how much skill it takes to master them, how you can, throw your hat, jump off it, dive, throw your hat again, spin, dive, and like reach so much further. I wish they had like some master trials kind of thing, or like a master mode kind of a thing, or maybe it'll be in a DLC later. I hope so. But like with the extent of your movements and how you can do stuff, I want to see some crazy difficult like platforming levels, that's what I want to see for this game. But yeah, other than that though, like, it tugs at nostalgia, it tugs at your heartstrings, and lovely levels, really enjoyed it. And yeah, number 2 is Super Mario Odyssey. Number 1. So this is Zelda Breath of the fucking Wild. Again, if you guys listen to my other segment of Hot Matches, my first one, the entire first, I'd say like 20 hours of this game was the best I've probably ever experienced in any game whatsoever. Just the feeling that I had of, going into this world, this unfamiliar yet somewhat familiar world, like this, you've known Hyrule, but everything around it, all these elements are so new. The physics, the, survival aspect, everything, and how well it flowed from on the Great Plateau, learning some of the mechanics, and all of a sudden you're just fucking let free. Do what you want to do. I felt so small, yet so like like empowered in myself kind of a thing, like within Link, like, hey, I'm gonna just go fucking kill all these guys, get all these weapons, and go out here, and then all of a sudden a big ass stone boulder monster thing destroys you with his like throwing rocks and shit. I mean, again, like the first 20 hours is one of the best I've ever experienced in any game whatsoever, and like it had some like lower points in the game as well, but like there's so many bits in this game that were just like design masterpiece, you know what I mean? Like just how they kind of put it together, the attention to detail, and how well the whole thing ran. And definitely, again, like I can't reiterate that enough, the attention to detail with everything in gameplay, in animation, how everything moves, how everything reacts. You've never seen or played a game like this before. And I think what really kind of defines what this game is, that really kind of stuck with me after playing it, and seeing Aonuma's one review with Miyamoto, I believe it was, that he called this the first open air game. And 100% this is, like there are the Skyrims, there are the Xenoblades, there are the Witchers, there's all these other kind of games that throw in some sort of physics in there, but it's nothing like this. This whole world is entirely a sandbox, open air, as he says. You can do anything that makes sense. Like if you can burn something, you can burn it. If that, it has its set mechanics that you can use, and it develops off of that. And just this whole experience of playing through that game was so amazing. I've played through it twice now. I played it on Wii U, and I've rebought it again for Switch and played it through again on Master Mode. That's twice I've played I've put in probably 250 hours into this goddamn game. You know what I mean? Like in 1 year, played through it twice, and I enjoyed it both times, like equally almost. Lost a little bit of the magical, experience I had at the start, but yeah, no, guys, this game 100% deserves Game of the Year. It's really going to be something everyone's going to look back on for years to come. And this is it. I don't know if it's my favorite Zelda game yet. It's between this and Wind Waker. That might be for a video later on, but guys, so that's my top 10 Game of the Year list. I really hope you guys enjoyed that. I'd love to see what your guys' top 10 is down below. And so that's the No Filter, a Nintendo podcast, episode 4. I want to thank you all for watching. I really appreciate that. Again, if you guys have if you want to give me any support, just please leave comments. I want to see that you guys are actually listening through to this. And again, I didn't get any comments about listening right to the end for the last episode. So again, whoever comments something saying that they've listened to the very end here and would like a game, I'm willing to purchase a game for whoever is actually listening to the end. I know the podcasts are long and it's different on the YouTube format, but I'd appreciate whoever is listening and paying attention to that, and and joins in the community and gets talking. So again, thanks everyone for watching. My next episode I will have probably on Christmas Eve, maybe on the 23rd. So a little bit sooner, not a full week later, but that one will be talking a lot about 2018, and I'm going to talk about some holiday stuff as well, around Christmas time and stuff, and gaming, and how that all kind of related to me back in the day, and obviously going over some news and what I've been playing. So again, thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you guys next time.